the state of being in the zone, impact driven and heading toward change. Love that. All right, so I just finished class for the day. I still have 2 more assignments that are due tomorrow, and they're like big ones. Like one of them is reading this entire book, Work on Purpose, which I'm actually loving so far. And it's a very easy read, but I have to read like the whole thing and then do a paper on it by tomorrow. And then I have to do an entire like course thing for marketing and then do a quiz tomorrow. Which I couldn't do ahead because it wasn't available and I asked about it and no one got back to me. So, so anyway, we're just trying to do a lot of homework in the next hour and 45 minutes because I really, really want to watch. Osaka is playing tonight in the quarterfinals for the US Open. So I really want to watch that match, and then there's a really good match after it. So I'm trying to take the night off, essentially. But yeah, so we're trying to get work done. I've really been enjoying watching the US Open with my parents. I used to play tennis in high school, and I've been to the US Open twice. So I'm really, I love all the different players and I follow them and stuff. So it's really fun to watch. I was actually watching live Djokovic, who is one of my more favorite players. He, kind of accidentally but still kind of in anger hit a ball like behind him and towards like the wall, basically, just kind of forgetting that line judges are there, and he hit a woman in the throat. I thought that he crushed her larynx and that she could die because she started like gasping for air. She fell to the ground, she couldn't breathe. She had to be like escorted off the court, and Djokovic was disqualified from the US Open. Just kind of a freak accident, but it just kind of reminds you that everything is very, I guess, fragile, and that you can make one mistake. I mean, he obviously did not mean to hit this woman in the throat and cause her physical harm, but one little action can just kind of roll and ripple effect into something bigger, and so and cause physical harm if you're not thinking about other people. So that was just really interesting and really sad. She's okay, and Djokovic was really upset and he felt terrible. So but yeah, that was just very interesting. So very freak thing that happened, and we were watching live when it happened, and it was really scary because I was like, oh my god, is she, like, you couldn't see it physically hit her throat, you just saw her go to the ground. So I was like, oh my god, is she having a stroke? Like, what is happening? And it was just really scary. So so anyway, yeah, we are getting some work done, some homework done. I was on the phone with my credit card company for so long today because I was buying some supplies for Upcycle this weekend, and I haven't been buying stuff during the pandemic, and so they blocked me. They literally called me being like, hey, there's some suspicious account on your card, and I was like, it's me, like, please let it go through. And they were like, nope, still blocked. So I called them today, since yesterday was Labor Day, a holiday, and I couldn't call them, and I called them today, and I went through like a whole thing with her. I gave her my like social security number, I gave her all this account details she needed, and then she was like, oh, just kidding, the credit card company can't like reinstate it, you have to call like your credit union. And I was like, ah! So then she transferred me, which was very nice, but she transferred me and someone picked up, and then she was like, oh, I'm transferring you again, and then they lost me. And so I left a message and I haven't heard back. Then I'm still blocked, and it's so frustrating because I need to do this stuff now to get reimbursed for it from customer discovery money from the summer for summer founders, and I can't. I'm physically blocked, and it's so frustrating. So I'm just over here trying to, you know, do some deep breathing and get over it, because there's really nothing more I can do until tomorrow. I can try calling them again, although tomorrow is my mom's birthday and the entire day I'm working, which sucks. I have like classes and I have meetings and like a whole day of stuff that was out of my control to schedule. So I wanted to get it done today, essentially, but I couldn't. So this is a 4-minute clip now. All right, I'm done. I'm not gonna complain anymore. So I just wanted to share from this Work on Purpose book that I have to read for one of my classes. One of the stories that they're sharing was just someone who was like overworking himself and driven to collapse, basically. But I love this one sentence. It's, his body may have been tired, but his heart was on full blast. And that really resonates with me because I have so many health issues from Lyme disease that I'm always exhausted, basically. You know, I don't usually take enough time to rest because I have so much to do. And my heart is always full because I know I'm doing good things. But, oh no, we're out of focus. But basically that it really resonated with me because it's so true. And there's always a balance, right? You don't want to be driven to collapse. You don't want to be driven to any of those things, but it really resonated with me and spoke to me. So yeah, I hope it resonates with you too. All right, so kind of, again, back to this book, Work on Purpose. I'm almost done, and it's been really cool to read it because it follows 5 change makers on their journey from not knowing what they wanted to do all the way to finding their passion and creating change. And so it just kind of, it gave me pause and a moment to reflect and say, you know what, I'm so grateful that I'm 23 and I know that I have so many passions and that I would be happy doing so many different things. But I know what my passions are, and a lot of people don't, and I'm still discovering new ones, and all that is great, but some people can't even find their initial one, or they found some of their passions, but they don't know how to put that into practice. And I've been very fortunate to have been able to follow my passions when I was 10 to start a nonprofit. I was just like, I'm passionate about animals, and I want to raise money for them and make a difference. And I put them together, and I love like creating stuff with my hands. And then I started making stuff and selling it, and then donating 100% of the money. And that was how I began. And so it gave me a moment to pause and say, you know, my journey has definitely not been straightforward, because I would say my biggest challenge has been health issues. You know, I was never in control of that, and that was so frustrating because I wanted to do so much, and I think that there was so much more I could have done if I hadn't had them. But it really gave me a lot of empathy, and it gave me a moment to maybe move forward in some directions that I wouldn't have if I hadn't had those challenges. So yeah, it's just been a really cool reflection tool to read this book, and I'm really enjoying it. So I think that it's really telling when specific sentences or words in a book really resonate with you. I tend to write them on my phone. This time when I was reading Work on Purpose, I actually highlighted them, which is different from my normal process. But I love her definition of hustle. So the author, Laura, I believe her name is, yes, Laura. She says that hustle is the state of being in the zone, impact driven and heading toward change. I love that. Usually I think of hustle as you know, kind of people like Gary Vee and people on, you know, Instagram and stuff that are hustling, right? Like they're working really hard, but sometimes it can be too much. And it's almost taken on like a negative, I think, tone for me, but I love this definition of it. She said hustle mode is about being effective, purposeful, and satisfied because you've found the path that works best for you. And I'm really resonating with that. And then kind of towards the end of the book, she's saying, you know, that she believes everyone can change the world, which I agree. Any individual can definitely do that. And she talks about, you know, as a change maker, for many people it will be their life's work, requiring legions of champions and supporters. And this is the work of social movements, collective action, and mobilization of resources that yield significant change. They build solutions to today's problems for a better, more just tomorrow. And I love that. And I think that really embodies what I want to do as a social entrepreneur and as a change maker and creating impact. And so I just really wanted to share that because I think that that's so insanely powerful. There's so many parts of this book that I really want to share, but already these clips have been so long, so I'm not going to share more. But I think definitely this is a great book for anyone who, even me, you know, I know what my passions are and I know what I want to do in my life, but I still resonate with it and hear it, and it's very reflective. So it follows 5 different change makers' stories, from them not knowing what they wanted to do all the way to them being very successful. And so anyone who wants to learn more about how to be a change maker or who has passion to solve problems in the world, definitely read this book. It is really powerful. Oh my God, okay, one more, because I just read this last paragraph. She thought how lucky she was to have her job. An adherent of the wisdom of leaders as ancient as Seneca, who is a Stoic philosopher, and as modern as Oprah, Cheryl believes that luck is the meaning of preparation and opportunity. The lucky moments are those that lead you to where you belong. I love that. I love that so much. I love thinking about luck in that way, because I always think of luck as just, oh, well, it happened. You know, hard work didn't come into play at all here. I know she's saying that it's the meeting of preparation and opportunity. And I love that, because preparation is hard work, right? And then there's also this opportunity, and that is very much needed. You can't just be a hard worker, you also need to have moments of opportunity. And so I agree that I think I've also been lucky in that way too. So that's just, it's very deep and profound, and I'm thinking a lot now about this. I should be writing my paper, but no, I'm just thinking. So I was just really emotionally moved by a quote from Rilke, and it's a poem. I live my life in widening circles that reach out across the world. I may not complete the last one, but I give myself to it. Wow, that's just, I may not complete the last one, but I give myself to it. That's super powerful, and I was just, it just hit me like that. That's, I don't even know what to say about it. I really resonated with it, because that's kind of a quote by Scott Harrison, don't be afraid of work that never ends. I think that that's very similar of, you know, you're continuing to do stuff, and it feels like it never ends, because when you're doing social impact work, like, the problems you're trying to solve are so big that you might not see huge changes, but it's the incremental changes that make ripple effects that can last forever. And it just, yeah, that it really hit me. So I just wanted to share that quote because it was very powerful. So I think I just want to end on this. The word hustle probably makes you think of energy or motion, but for Ch.8, I'm not sure how to pronounce this one woman's name, hustle is about quietly owning her power and grace. Every day she questions herself, not to tear herself down, but rather to build herself up. What am I doing to change a community, she demands. What risks can I take? How can I be even bolder? And I think that that pretty much sums this book up. And yeah, I'm going to be asking myself a lot more questions to make sure that I'm on, reflective questions, to make sure that I'm on the right path, and that I'm always kind of contributing the amount of impact that I want to at all times. How can I be doing even more? How can I be even more efficient with my time? Those kinds of questions I think are really important to continue asking ourselves. So yeah, that was a really powerful book. I read it in a couple hours. I should now be writing a story, not a story, but a paper on it. I kind of want to just research all the organizations that were in it. So we'll see how much I get done, but very powerful book, and I would highly recommend it.